Please subscribe the channel and don't forget to click the bell icon.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the class of biotechnology. So previously we have studied various methods of gene transfer like particle bombardment, polyethylene glycol mediated gene transfer. We have also studied some other like microinjection method. So these were all the methods which we need for transferring our gene of interest. So our next topic is about the transgenic plants. So those methods which we have studied previously, all those methods are some of them which will be used in the next topic, the subtopic which we are going to study now. The ultimate goal of our discussion and all this discussion is to make the transgenic plant, the plant with a modified genotype. So previously all the topics were concerned with this particular topic. So now we are going to study it. So what are transgenic plants? So first of all we are going to define them. Transgenic plants can be simply defined as plants that contain additional or modified genes. So remember we have a natural genome of all the plants like all the other organisms. We have a genome, we can say that all the genes of the plants which are the naturally present in those plants. So now if we are adding additional gene, the gene from another species and the gene from another plant, or we are modifying the previously found, the naturally found gene, so these both things are transgenic plant. For most of the part the people or the scientists or the students say that the transgenic plants are only those in which we are adding additional gene. But if we are modifying the gene which is already present in those plants, for example, if there is a gene of we can say that drought resistance. So the gene of drought resistance is present already in that particular plant, but if now we are going to modify it according to the conditions, according to the plant, according to the situation. So that is also, the resulting plant will also be transgenic plant. So that were introduced using specific physical or biological method. So it is obvious that if we are going to modify a gene, so first we have to isolate that particular gene and then we have to insert that gene into a plant. So in both cases, so what we use, either we use physical or biological, or there is also chemical method of gene transfer as well. So we have studied mostly the physical method, and there is the next which we are going to study, that is the biological method. The plasmid method we have also studied, but now we are going to study the other method like the agrobacterian method, the TI plasmid method, so which will be discussed in this particular topic. So what are transgenic plants? Transgenic plants are all those plants which contain the additional genes, the new gene from another species, or the already present gene is modified. So introduced DNAs or transgenes are typically very well defined and are precisely manipulated in the laboratory prior to the delivery into the target plant cell. So it is not the case that if we are going to modify the genome of a plant, so we will isolate a gene from a we can say that the donor plant or the donor cell, and then we will insert that gene into another plant. So this is not the case. The introduced DNAs, the DNA which we are going to introduce into the new plant, are typically very well defined and are precisely manipulated. So we know each and everything of that particular DNA. What is the sequence of the DNA? What is the structure of that particular molecule? What are the various markers which by which it can be identified in the host cell? So each and everything of that particular DNA is first beforehand it is analyzed, and then that particular DNA is used for the transgenic method, the transformation method. The method for DNA introduction into the plant cells are quite varied and are dependent largely on the plant selected for study and the background of the scientist performing the work. So as far as the DNA introduction methods are concerned, we have studied all these, most of those DNA introduction methods, that is either the microinjection method, electroporation method, polyethylene glycol method. So these all methods are the gene transfer method which we have mentioned here as DNA introduction methods. So these are varied, so they are different as we have classified them into chemical method, physical method and biological method. And which method will be used in the experiment, it is we can say that it is determined by the selected species of the plant, the species which we are going to study, in which we are going to make, or that species which we are going to make a transgenic that species, the modified species, and the background of the scientist performing that work. So it is not the case that if we do not have any background of that particular species, that work, so we cannot perform that work from the scratch. So we should have any sort of information beforehand, prior information, which will be used in the transgenic plant production method. So over the years, tremendous efforts have been placed in development of gene introduction or transformation technology, and for many, if most plants, the procedure have become almost routine. So after 1980s, the biotechnology advancement has taken place, and now there is we can say that many plants are present in the market as well. The products of the plants are present in the market. Various plants are present in the agriculture sector, which are either pest resistant, or they give the good yield, or they are drought resistant. So all these characteristics have been modified in the plants in previous about 40 years, 30 years, and for many plants, if not the most plants. So we have most of the plants, most of the crop plants, which are mostly associated with the food and shelter requirement of the humans. They are modified to fulfill these requirements. The efficiency of transgenic plant production is still being improved, and new methods for DNA delivery are still needed. But like any other process, any other method, there is always a need of always a room for modification, room for we can say that changes. So the efficiency of transgenic plant production is still being improved. So now improvement is also taking place with the passing day, and the new methods for DNA delivery are still needed, because there are some plants in which we cannot use any one of the method which we have described. So we need also another, we can say that, advanced method which can be used in the plant. So there is a question that why transgenic plants? So why there is a need of producing transgenic plants? So for thousands of years, humans have manipulated the genetic characteristics of the plants by selective breeding. So we have studied that the Mendel, the father of genetics, Gregor John Mendel, on the time of that, at that time, that was the 1840s, 50s and 60s, it was a hobby of those people that they make anonymous crosses from different plants, and then they were waiting for the results. So plant breeding or selective breeding was a hobby of the people of that time. So what they do, that was the process of selective breeding. They know nothing about the DNA, about the heredity, about the genes, but what they did the selective breeding, and they get the desirable trait. But this particular approach has been extremely successful and will continue to play a major part in the agriculture. So this was the initial, we can say that initial experiment, initial efforts which were put forward to improve the crop plants, and it has played a very major role in the advancement and in the modification and in the development of the agriculture. However, classical plant breeding programs rely on being able to carry out genetic crosses between individual plants. So, but there are also certain limitations. So what are those limitations to the selective breeding? These are classical plant breeding programs. They rely on being able to carry out, we can say that they are carrying out the experiment on a single plant. So if we have a population, for example, if we are going to modify the genome or the genetic trait of a population, so it will take a very long time, since it is restricted to individual plant. So such plant must be sexually compatible. So first is this constraint, this limitation, and the second what we have, those plants must be sexually compatible. So what does it mean? It means that there should be a successful pollination, and after the successful pollination, there should be a successful initiation of the successful fertilization process, and then we should have we should get the zygote and embryo and the new plant as well. So that is all the process which should be successful. So as to make the plant, modified plant, those two plants which we are going to breed, they must be sexually compatible. If they are not sexually compatible, so we will not be able to make a cross, and then we are not able to get the desirable character. So which usually means that they have to be closely related. So if, for example, we are going to make a cross between the plants of a family Poaceae and family Asteraceae, so obviously these two families, these two plants are very far apart, very different from each other, so they will not be sexually compatible. In some cases it is also happened that species within the genera and eco-species, they are not compatible as well. So compatibility is the one major factor in the selective breeding. So if they are not compatible, so there will be no successful pollination, and obviously there will be no fertilization. So thus it has been possible to combine genetic traits from widely differing species. So it become a hindrance, it is we can say that a drawback, that due to this particular problem we are not able to make genetic crosses and to combine the genetic traits from widely those species which are different from one another. So the advent of genetic engineering has removed this constraint. So what we have got, we have whenever there is a problem, there is a way, there is a solution as well. So the genetic engineering has overcome this particular problem, removed this limitation, removed this disadvantage of selective breeding, and has given the agriculture scientist a very powerful way of incorporating defined genetic changes into the plant. So as the genetic engineering, the field of genetic engineering advancement has taken place, so it has removed all the barriers which were present in the selective breeding, and now agriculture scientists can make crosses and can make hybrids from different plants as well. But there is also certain limitation of this genetic engineering as well. So it is not the case that genetic engineering is perfect, it has nothing, no limitation, no disadvantage, so it is not the case. There is also limitations, there are disadvantages, but those disadvantages which were related to the selective breeding, now they are solved, those problems are solved by the biotechnology and genetic engineering. So such changes are often aimed at improving the productivity and efficiency of crop plants. So mostly what are those changes which are made by using the genetic engineering? So due to the increasing population of the developing world, it is very difficult to fulfill the food requirement. For example, we have the crop plants like wheat, we have rice. So these two are the mostly staple food which are used in the world, throughout the world. So to fulfill this food requirement, there is a need to increase the productivity, increase the yield of those plants. So first of all, the scientists are concerned with increasing the efficiency of productivity, efficiency of the yield of those crop plants, and second we have that is the efficiency of crop plants. So what does it mean? It means the overall growth and development of those particular plants. For example, there are various stresses on the plants. There is a heat stress, drought stress, salinity stress. All these stress along with other environmental factors, they reduce or they limit the growth and development process of the plants. So plant scientists are also concerned to limit these problems, and if the plant is growing, there is no problem in the growth and development of the plant, so obviously it will give the best result. So both aspects are now concerned. So both of which are important to help feed and clothe the increasing world population. So all these changes, they are mainly made for the humans. So everything which is taking place in the biotechnology, in the science field, it is only for the humans, for the benefit of the humans. So these are the two basic reasons why transgenic plants are made.